Hi, I'm Steve Germanic,
Hi, I'm Lisa Levitt.
and welcome to The World is Your Oyster. This is episode number 4.
I believe so.
Very excited, very excited. We have Fran Golden, a close friend in the travel industry for many years, one of our favorite travel writers, and her partner on this latest book we're very excited to talk about, 100 Things to Do in Alaska Before You Die, Midgi Moore.
Hi.
Hi.
We're excited to talk Alaska. I know it's a little off season this year for Alaska because the cruises aren't going up the coast from the mainland, but there's still a lot of people, calling us up and saying, hey, I want to hit Anchorage. I want to go to the Kenai Fjord, just do it on land. So it's still a lot of interest this year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a plug for my hometown. Juneau's open. We have tour operators open. I'm open, and we would welcome visitors. We really would love to see people come. It's going to be a little slower pace, so it's a great idea to come to Southeast right now.
Well, we love Juneau. We've been there and we hiked the Mendenhall Glacier. But from this book, I gotta say, I was foaming at the mouth. The food in the first part of the book sounded amazing. From those salmon bake at the Gold Creek Salmon Bake in Juneau, and the reindeer sausage pizza at Red Dog Saloon. And then there's another one in Juneau that's amazing too, Tracy's King Crab Shack.
Oh yeah,
looks
iconic
amazing.
restaurant. Yeah.
So Midgi, why don't you talk a little bit? I know you do a food tour. Why don't you talk a little bit about your food tour in Juneau?
Oh, thank you. So what we do is we share Alaska through the food, and we take you to iconic restaurants as well as some of the little out of the way places that you might not find if you're ambling about on your own. And all of our tours are hosted by local residents. It's actually a requirement. You have to live here year round to work for me. And we really look at different ways that we share history and fun facts, but also the amazing people who have created this really eclectic and unique dining scene that we have here in Alaska's capital city.
Yeah, Midgi likes to say, go to all the restaurants because most of them are family owned, to really meet Alaskans. So you can not only eat Alaska, you can meet real Alaskans while you're eating. I personally like to say also go to the dive bars because I've had some of my best conversations in Alaska at dive bars.
Yeah, and Alaska has a lot of good dive bars. You'll find the old salt seamen and the fishermen and stuff just hanging out there. And it's really fun because you do connect with the community that way.
How did you guys meet? I'm curious.
I did one of Midgi's tours years ago.
Okay.
Which was fantastic. And, I was writing a story and I was like, I like her. So when this opportunity came up to do a book, I was like, I need a real Alaskan to help me write this book. And she came to mind immediately.
Oh, yeah. We've become very good friends through this process, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. And Fran, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career? Because I think, we know you so well, but our Active Travels members don't know you. So we'd love to hear about your career.
They've probably read me over the years because I've been a travel writer for a really long time, and I write for Bloomberg Pursuits and Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast and Afar and Cruise Critic and anybody else who will have me, basically. So writer for hire. But I became obsessed with Alaska in the 1990s. I had an opportunity to go on a cruise. It was actually kind of an unusual cruise in that they were filming an episode of Baywatch. And my biggest memories are seeing a glacier calve, which is just an amazing experience, and seeing David Hasselhoff wearing nothing but a towel. There you go.
That would have been pretty cool.
It was a spot, in the spot. And so I became a bit obsessed with Alaska. I've gone more than 25 times, and I've gone in all seasons. And a lot of people focus on only going in summer, but it's just a wonderland in winter. And I totally recommend a Northern Lights trip to Fairbanks and up to the Arctic. I did it right before the pandemic and was in Weissman, Alaska, population 11, and saw the Northern Lights like pyrotechnics in the sky, blue and green. And it just one of those sort of lifetime bucket list experiences, and it was right there. It was minus 50 degrees. There is a little price to pay in that you have to bundle up, and you're so cold your eyeballs hurt, but but it's well worth it.
We saw you guys up on that Visit Anchorage webinar you guys did, which was great. We loved it. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about Anchorage itself as a city, because a lot of people don't really hit that on the cruises. Inside Passage, they don't really go to Anchorage unless it ends there.
Yeah, you fly into Anchorage, and flying in is an experience in itself, because you just get an idea of how wild the landscape is, and you see all the mountains and ice fields and everything. Get a window seat if you're flying to Anchorage. But the city itself is really cool. It's it kind of feels like a Western town more than, you know, the largest city in a state, and it's surrounded by nature. So like right in the city, you know, a few blocks from downtown is one of my favorite hikes on the Tony Knowles Trail, or you can also bike it. And, you know, I've done it on bike where you go out maybe a mile and suddenly there's all these moose. You're on the Cook Inlet, you're looking at snow-covered peaks, and there's moose like hanging out.
Wow. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in New England, people come here looking for moose, but it's been kind of hard. They're hard to.
I've never seen them in, you know, I lived there for many years, never saw them in New
You're gonna
England.
go up to the northern fringes of Maine. and
Even
get lucky.
so, it's not easy.
The other thing about Anchorage that's so cool is it's a perfect base to go to several national parks. You can go, you mentioned the Kenai Peninsula, so you can drive along the Cook Inlet, which on the Seward Highway is an absolutely spectacular drive. And if you're lucky, you might even see a boar tide, which is an odd phenomena there. But you can go out to the Kenai Fjord in the national park there. You can get on the Alaska Railroad and go to Denali National Park and catch some great views if it's not clouded with its own weather system of Denali, the tallest peak in North America. And then you can also from Anchorage fly to like Katmai to see the bears, and you could take these wonderful flight seeing trips. So if you want to see grizzly bears, that's an option. If you want to see ice fields, that's an option. So it's a really good place to be based.
Yeah, there's also that one you spoke about, the train to the cruise on Prince William Sound, the day cruise there. That sounded great too.
There are 26 glaciers with Phillips. So you can take the train down to, I want to say Seward, and you can take the cruise out of there. And
it's Whittier.
I always get them backwards, but yeah, and you can take the cruise down there, or the train down there, which is really fun. Southeast doesn't have a train, but we do. Well, we do. Skagway has the White Pass Trail or train, which is a lot of fun. And then in Southeast, we also have bears, whales, glaciers. Many people fly into Juneau and Ketchikan, and then they make that their home base to go whale watching, sport fishing, bear viewing. Admiralty Island is just right outside of Juneau, and it's one of the largest concentrations of brown bears in the world. And so that's one of the places that you can fly to. And then, of course, we're the gateway to Glacier Bay National Park.
Right.
So a lot of people, you come through Juneau to get to Glacier Bay, which I did learn, I think it was last week, that Glacier Bay Park will be open this summer. So that's pretty exciting.
That's excellent. Yeah, I would think this would be a good summer to see Juneau without the cruise traffic. We're gonna have
But different. It'll be, most stores will be open and tours will be operating. Some things won't be, but it does give you more time. Anytime you travel as an independent traveler and you come in and you stay, you have more time to really experience Alaska rather than on a cruise, which we love our cruise passengers as well. But I always equate it to like a cruise is like a buffet, a little this, a little that. And then if you fly in as an independent traveler, you're getting a full meal and entree with, tableside service. So it's really just, you get to experience more because it's at your own pace too.
Yeah,
I think people don't realize that you can do a trip to Alaska and fly to all, you could fly to Anchorage, you could fly to Juneau, you could fly to Sitka, you could fly to Fairbanks, and you can, make all those places your base and do this fabulous trip out of all those places.
Mm-hmm.
How long would you recommend giving for that, to do something like that? How many?
Oh,
Well, I always tell people 2 weeks is the minimum for Alaska.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could fly in and go, okay, I saw that, or take your 1 week cruise, but you really miss something if you just see the water and don't see the interior.
Well, and the other cool thing is Alaska Air has what they call a multi-city ticket. So
Oh,
if you're flying, say, out of Denver, you can fly from Denver to Seattle, Seattle to Juneau, Juneau to Anchorage, and then Anchorage back to Denver. So you can do it all in one ticket.
hmm.
And then you're not paying for numerous tickets. And then you can set your itinerary, because when you fly from, say, you fly into Juneau and you say, oh, I want to spend 3 days in Juneau, then your next leg is 3 days later to go to Anchorage, and you're going to spend 4 or 5 days in Anchorage, and then you can fly home, however you want to do it. But it's really easy for, especially for travel agents, to arrange that itinerary on one ticket and not have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And this year, Alaska Air is really helping promote Alaska with really great airline rates. So that's something that I like to tell everybody, is that, we're open for business throughout the state, and getting up here is actually more affordable now than ever.
That's fantastic to know. That's so helpful. Thanks, Midgi, for letting us know about that.
What, you have a lot of gems in here, and I read through everything. I like, there's one that I really love, the chicken dance. I don't know.
You want to go to Chicken, Alaska?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that for people?
Yeah, I mean, if I can say it, their slogan is, you can, come to Chicken, Alaska and get laid. Ha ha ha.
But then there's
But
like,
there's some really fun things. I mean, if you're an adventuresome person and drive the highways, you'll just come across all kinds of things. Like, one of my favorite things in the book is Muckluck Land, which is basically, they'll hate me for this, but somebody's collection of junk that they've turned into an amusement park and museum.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, with museums, there's some really fantastic museums in Alaska. I think you really, when you come, most people want to get an understanding of Alaskan Native culture,
Mhm.
and all the major museums have artwork and artifacts. I mean, in Anchorage, there's a Smithsonian collection of artifacts. It's just unbelievable. I mean, one of my, first time I saw it, I was like, wait, you can make a waterproof raincoat out of, was it seal gut, or, I mean, it's just amazing.
Midgi, do you have a favorite excerpt from the book?
Well, I talk about this a lot. One of my all-time favorites that I researched is, actually, there are two. One is the Hammer Museum in Haines, just because the idea that there's a museum about hammers is pretty cool. And outside of it is a gigantic hammer. But the really interesting thing about the Hammer Museum is that they actually track the history of the tool and how it evolved man's ability to create their homes and cook and different things, the evolution of society. So that's actually pretty fascinating. But the other one is my all-time favorite, that is the unofficial, National Forest in Adak. And Adak is part of the Aleutian Islands. And I'm very familiar with Adak because my husband goes hunting there for caribou. They have a huge caribou herd. And but the really cute story about it is that in World War II, the commanding officer wanted to give his troops something of a little happiness for the holiday season. So he had them plant trees to make Christmas trees. And Adak's terrain is very hilly and oftentimes rocky and flat, depending on where you are, but not very foresty like Southeast Alaska is. And so there's this little cluster of like 25 or 30 trees. And to this day, we still decorate them for Christmas. And it's so cool. It was something to make people feel good and feel better and bring them joy. And the community still does it. And I just think that's really cool.
Oh, I love that. Great story.
It's wonderful.
Well, thank you both. This has been a real treat. I love talking about Alaska, and I realized how much we just scraped the surface.
We really
Our first
did.
trip. We have to go back and spend that 2 weeks. I think it's important. But again, the book is 100 Things to Do in Alaska Before You Die. And make sure all of our members will get this. And also all you travel advisors out there, use it. We have. It's a great resource.
Yep. We love our travel advisors. And you can get the book online at our website, 100thingsalaska.com, or where any books are sold. So, but we really appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Fran.
so much for your time.
Thanks, Midgi.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.